Hi guys. So a similarity I noticed in both chapter 4 on reading and 5 on mathematics was the fact that it encouraged teachers to withhold immediately giving students the answers. Rather, having students think hard about possible answers by talking, having a timed pair share, engaging with one another, and maybe posting answers was actually encouraged over just giving them the right math answer or giving them the right grammatical answer. Page 170 said, how to solve these problems shouldn't be obvious. Students should have to think. The best problems are authentic, challenging, intriguing, mathematically rich, and even counterintuitive. In page, excuse me, on in chapter 5, it actually talked about how American teachers usually give the answers compared to teachers in Japan who typically promote this kind of questioning and authenticity and asking questions and then finding the answer through that way. And this means less teacher and more students. In chapter 3, I read that building a supportive context for working collaboratively is perhaps the most important step a teacher can take to promote writing growth. This may mean students discuss in groups their ideas and ask questions of their peers' work, and then where teachers may hop in and out, encouraging groups as they see fit and giving assistance where needed. I saw the emphasis on enabling students to be independent in their learning from relying so heavily on the teacher to give the answer. And a student's feeling of safety and comfort in a classroom is largely what enables student independence. Both chapters touched on this comfort level in the classroom. Chapter 3 said if students don't find their classroom a safe place to try new approaches and to say what they believe, even the most up-to-date techniques can fall flat. And chapter 4 on this subject said we must build a safe environment in our classrooms where students believe they can freely express their ideas without negative consequences for mistakes. The chapters, although targeting different subjects, they both really hone in on the importance of the student and taking so much pressure off the teacher to provide answers and to provide topics. Teaching is not about getting as much knowledge as we can into the child, but about nurturing these students by giving them what they need. And that might mean incorporating what they've learned in the past to understand things in the present and to help them be set up well for the future. But rather, what the book talks about, what we see in learning, is a step-by-step process that focuses on one thing at a time, rarely reviewing it again. And this isn't beneficial to the student. Teaching is about focusing on what the students can do rather than on what the teacher thinks that they can, or rather what the teacher may even have learned herself or himself and thinking, okay, this is the right way to learn. We kind of have to have a paradigm shift. Engagement was another similarity between these chapters I saw. Students need engaging real-world activities that involve kids with the audiences and purposes for which they're writing or which they're learning about math. And what we learned about in the math chapter was how the teacher used candy bars and little Hershey Kisses. That's what they recommend in both chapters, is to have them think of their own topic and think of their own subject rather than the teacher just choosing it for them. I'm so grateful for these chapters because they really gave me strategic practices on how to incorporate having my students think a lot more for themselves, and in the end having my students have intrinsic value versus just doing something for a grade.